Hey, music lovers. Curtis Young here with Young LP Lovers. Thanks for stopping by and chatting music. I've got another vinyl challenge response for us today. This one I saw over at Darrel D's channel, All Things Darrel D. I'll leave a link to his channel. It was a response that he did from, I think it was, oh goodness, Dad Ain't Rap. So that was a new channel for me. I subbed them up. So that's right on. But yeah, so we're focusing in on album covers today. In particular, we're taking like headshots, portraits. So he showed 5 beautiful ladies and 5 handsome dudes. I'm going to use the same format, 10 fantastic portrait style covers, talk a little bit about the music on each album, and I've done some research to talk about the photographers as well, because I never look at that kind of stuff on the albums, and I appreciate it, but I never really know who's responsible for it. So I took some time. I'm going to share a few stories about the photographers as well. Ladies first, starting off with the one, the only Erykah Badu. This is her album Mama's Gun. Look at that great, beautiful cover photo. She's got some style, right? With that knit hat and the toothpick there. This is a Vinyl Me Please reissue, so it's done really, really nicely. They included this insert here, which is done by the same photographer as the cover. They're just really well done, right? Although this one did come, there you go, colored vinyl. This one did come with a little bit of a warp in it, so they sent me a new copy. I'll get the glare out of there. There you go. So that was cool, but still, even the new copy still had a seam rip. So very good, well done, but some quality control issues. But yeah, so the photographer on this one was one Robert Maxwell. Robert Maxwell mainly does, I guess, fashion and celebrities, which is, of course, very much in line with Erykah Badu. She's a bit of a fashion icon in and to herself, right? I wonder who does all her fashion. She probably works with a whole suite of people, but definitely iconic in fashion. Robert Maxwell is well known for his Vogue and Vanity Fair photography. Old school photographic techniques like wet plates and so forth. Works mainly on film as well, rather than digital, and this image would have been a film as well. I don't know a lot about the technical side of photography. Someone like Brian over at Tokyo Record Style, I'd love to hear your take on some of this. Or even Mazzy, right? He's got a photo background. I think Mazzy's done videos like this before, but cover photos, but yeah, portraits. All right, so that's the first one. Here's another iconic cover. This is Roberta Flack. What's the name of the album? Quiet Fire. Look at that big old afro. Yeah, it's so iconic that someone had this pinned up on their wall. All 4 corners have pins in it. I'm okay with that. Vinyl's in near mint condition, so happy to live with the holes in the corners. Yeah, so interesting. I looked up the photographer on this, and it's listed as Rod Bristow, Bristow. I could not find anything about Rob Bristow, leading me to think that it's probably not a real person. Maybe it's a pseudonym or some sort of inside joke. It actually has in brackets beside it. So let me see. Rod Text Pictures by Rod Bristow. And then brackets it says Roberta Flack and Joel Dorn. So maybe it's a bit of an inside joke between them. Or maybe in 1971, a picture in full afro would have been a political statement as much as anything else. So maybe the person who took the photo didn't want to be associated with that. I don't know. That powerful political statement on the cover. But anyway, great photo. Love to know who actually did it. Was it one of the producers themselves? Not sure. I'd love to know more about why Rod Bristow. So if you know anything about that, leave a comment down below. I'd love to know. What a great photo. Someone once told me, if you see any early 70s albums with afros on the cover, pick them up and you won't be disappointed. Hasn't failed me yet. All right, so we're going to the world of jazz, bossa nova. Yes, this is the best of Astrud Gilberto, Brazilian bossa nova on Verve. Yeah, look at that. Isn't that kind of a, I don't know, not so sultry, but kind of mysterious kind of shot. Yeah. And I picked this one because there's lots of face or headshots on this particular album. On the back cover, there's my notes, just disregard that for a second. And on the inside as well, let's go here first. Of a young Astrud, and even the insert, lots of headshots. All with that same sort of vibe, right? The hair in front of the face, kind of. Oh, there's a smile. Anything on this one? No. That's the only one where she's smiling, actually. And the photographer on this is one Chuck Stewart. Chuck Stewart apparently has over 2,000 album covers in the world of jazz, mostly. And not a name I'm familiar with, but certainly a well-accomplished photographer. Interesting story here. It says that he got his first camera when he was 13 years old, brought it to school, took a photograph of a performer who came to the school to visit, and started selling them for $2 a piece around the school. And that started off his career and led to some beautiful photography, including this one here. That is Chuck Stewart. All right, next up, we've got one of my favorite albums, Norah Jones, Come Away With Me. Early 2000s, late 90s. Can't remember. That's just a great photo. Of course, Norah Jones, the daughter of Ravi Shankar. So a musical lineage here. Yeah, I just love this album. It's on Blue Note. What else can I tell you? So the photographer is Joan Savio. Joan Savio, and she's most well known for photographing dancers. Yeah. Let's see, like ballet and that kind of stuff. She also prefers to work on film, talking about the kind of Zen aspect of that and how nothing is immediate and, you know, waiting for development and yada, yada, yada. I think that's something we can all relate to as physical media people, something about that analog experience, right? Yeah, I guess during this cover shoot, she was trying to get something that was quiet, intimate, and natural. And I think that's exactly what this cover kind of depicts, with just the ever slightest of smile in there, yeah? Listen to a podcast. Norah Jones does her own podcast now. And she had on Black Pumas recently. And absolutely loved that episode. They're probably two of my favorite artists in the last, quarter century, 25 years, and they jam together, right? They perform a couple of songs together, and so I absolutely love that. Okay, last one for the females, and I'm going CD on this one, because Darrel showed one of his childhood crushes, right? And so I said, I'm gonna follow suit. And so this is Toni Braxton. Bit of glare on there, maybe I can take it out of here. Yeah, that's better. Toni Braxton, I think it's her second album, second one I have anyway. Secrets, this has the You're Making Me High. That was the big one that I'd remember off of this one. Just a great album. Around this time, I picked up a magazine. It would have been maybe Word Up or Source, Vibe maybe, and she was on the cover. And there was, in her article, she had a centerfold, and it left very little to the imagination. This came out in 1996. So 16-year-old Curtis was completely infatuated with Toni Braxton. I mean, how could you not be? Yeah. All right, so the photographer on this one is Randy St. Nicholas. And interestingly, especially Darrell, I know you're a big Prince fan. He worked extensively with Prince and published a book, My Name is Prince, documenting 25 years of work alongside Prince. So same photographer there, Toni Braxton. All right, over to the gentleman now. Oh, my dog heard me whistle. Okay, starting off with LL. Ladies Love Cool James. Look at that photo, yeah? That is just the intensity in those eyes. So this is his greatest hits, All World, I think they call it. Yeah, All World. I don't know what year this came out. 2000s, I guess, sometime. In any case, it's got all his Def Jam stuff on here, early stuff, all the way up to late 90s, I think. So this might have come out in the late 90s. Look at these images inside as well. The GOAT, look at this fella. The gold chain. Pioneer, yeah, I would say. So the photo was taken by Albert Watson, probably the most accomplished, maybe, I don't know, maybe the most accomplished photographer on the list today. He has shot over 100 covers for Vogue, some 40 with Rolling Stone. When you, he did that Steve Jobs photo. When you think of a photo of Steve Jobs, not 90% sure you're thinking of the photo that he took, Albert Watson. He's done other iconic photos for Bill Clinton, Queen Elizabeth. He was awarded the Order of the British Empire. Won a Grammy for Best Album Cover for Mason in 1975 for Mason Prophets Come and Gone. I'm not familiar with that album. But anyway, what a great cover here with LL Cool J. The king himself. I mean, Elvis is very photogenic, right? Lots of really great photos of Elvis out there. This is Elvis Golden Record Volume 1, and it's of course, it's the Japanese variant. I don't know I'm not sure if this cover was used in any other variants or not, but I've always, since I got this, I've loved this cover of young Elvis. Is there more on the inside? No. In the back, you've got kind of a ragged 70s Elvis on the back here, but this is kind of the 50s era Elvis, the pretty boy kind of era. I guess this photo was taken by William Robertson. So circa, I couldn't get specific information, but the best I could do was that it's likely to be taken February 1956. If you're an Elvis, I know there's some like Elvis experts out there. If you're an Elvis expert, you might know more about this. Again, I'd love to hear it. But it's likely from a promo pic from his RCA debut. So after he left Sun Records and went to RCA, it kind of changed his image a bit, made it a sort of more pretty boy image, a little rougher, a little more natural, I guess, with Sun Records. Yeah, so I guess a lot of them that were taken around this era were recolorized and touched up and so forth, and I suspect that's the case with this one as well, that it would be recolorized and touched up, but I'm not sure. But I've always been that red background, the blue suit, I just think it's just a great cover. So shout out to the king. All right, next up, we've got Grover Washington Jr. All the King's horses. So very recent pickup for me. Picked it up within the last week at my local record store for $3. Yeah, it's on the Kudu label, number 7 early Kudu release. That's a subsidiary of the CTI label. Their soul jazz or jazz funk kind of collection. I've been snapping these up whenever I can, really enjoying them. And they all have this sort of portrait style on the front, but unlike the Elvis, which is kind of really polished, these are a little bit more natural, kind of raw. Yeah. So he's got a ton of musicians on here with him. Notably for me, on guitar is Eric Gale, G-A-L-E. I've noticed a lot of these releases that I've been enjoying, the jazz funk fusion, he's on it. And so when I picked up this, I picked up another 2 that he is on and enjoyed both of them as well. I'll do a recent finds video and highlight those in the future. But yeah, tons of people on here. We've got Bob James on electric piano, Richard T on the organ, Billy Cobham on drums, along with Bernard Purdy, and on and on and on. I'm not going to read through them all. Trombone, baritone sax, alto sax, trumpet, in flugelhorn, the French horn. Ton of violin players on here. Viola, cello, harp, lots. Anyway, this photo is credited to Peter Turner, who was CTI's kind of go-to photographer. He did almost all of the Kudu releases through the 70s. Yeah, there's the go-to photographer during this period. I think there's about 39, I think, or 40 Kudu releases, and he's done at least 30 of them from what I can see. And he has released a book collecting a lot of the photos done in that era, titled The Color of Jazz. So if you're a fan of those, check out that book, Peter Turner. All right. Next up, we are going to West Africa. This is King Sunny Ade, and while it's stylized, it is based on a photo. Okay, so King Sunny Ade, Nigerian artist out of Nigeria. And although it says here, and his African beats, it's not Afrobeat music per se. It came from the same kind of fertile soil as Afrobeats, but it's more in the Juju style. The name of the album actually is Juju Music, Juju and High Life, which predate the Afrobeat kind of sound. It's not quite as funky, I would say, as say like a Fela Kuti sound. It's a little bit more lighter, a bit airier, still a groove heavy. I really like it, maybe a little less on the bass, but great music I really enjoy. I have 3 King Sunny Ade albums, all released on Island or Mango. This is an Island release, I believe. Yeah, Island. Yeah, and the photographer here is Adrian Boot. He was a physics teacher from England who moved to Jamaica, and he became heavily involved in photographing for the reggae scene in Jamaica at the time. This was his first visit to West Africa to shoot King Sunny Ade, and the picture was taken while walking to the studio and eventually became his best-selling photograph. So that's kind of interesting. That's the spontaneity sometimes is worth more than any kind of orchestrated shoot, right? So yeah, he was mainly a reggae photographer, and of course, working with Island and Chris Blackwell's crew. He also worked with Melody Maker, NME, The Guardian, etc., etc. He had an exhibit for, with collecting all of his Bob Marley photos. He was heavily involved in Live Aid. Nelson Mandela's personal photographer for quite a few years. Adrian Boot, quite like that. Who's the cover artist, the designer on this one? Cover design by Bruno Tilly. So, but even with the stylized cover design, you can see kind of the profile, the kind of the intensity in the eyes still again, you know, it's, yep, King Sunny Ade. And lastly, I can always find a way to get Bob Marley in here, yeah? Bob's got a lot of his face on the cover. If you think from Legends, you think Kaya, the second cover of Catch a Fire, I'll feature Bob. I think Chris Blackwell really wanted to put Bob out there as the face of reggae, right? And they did that on Natty Dread as well with this. Now, again, this is a painting, not a photo. It is based on a photo. The photo was by Dennis Morris, but I actually want to talk about the cover design artist, who is Tony Wright. Did a lot of the Island stuff. And he tells a great story about this in an interview. Forgetting the channel name. I'm going to put it right up here because I'm going to say it wrong if I try to pronounce it. In any case, and I'll link to I think it's a 3-part interview. He talks about this cover and why he hates this cover because Island cropped his painting. It's supposed to show kind of Bob in kind of the destruction of Babylon around the outside, and Island thought that was too risque to show the kind of crumbling of society on the album cover, and they cropped it on him. So the full image you can see in that interview rather. So I thought that was kind of cool. So I wanted to end off with that. That was 10 album covers with portraits inspired by Darrel D. Love to see what you've got. Show us your portraits on album covers. All right, Curtis Young out. Peace.